Everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a four-game playoff slate. This is game two for all these four games. Cleveland, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Toronto, San Diego Mets, Philly, St. Louis. Now, these games here, we have, obviously four teams are in an elimination situation, that being Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Toronto, and the New York Mets. So all four of those teams really want to win today, especially because otherwise they're done. Now, when it comes to pitching, Jacob deGrom is the top option here. Now, he had a blister on his finger the last game they played, but he is in a pretty good spot here, and he has the most upside, 50-point upside of any pitcher on the slate, and there's really not anybody in San Diego that's too scary on this particular matchup. If San Diego does get to the Mets, it'll likely be after he, comes out in the 6th or 7th inning. He's also gotten quality starts in most of his pitch situations this year. He's only had 11 starts on the season, so do keep that in mind. But overall, he's been pretty solid in all those starts. He's only had one game under 30 fantasy points on FanDuel, and I think he's in a great spot here. Even if he gives up a couple earned runs, he gets enough strikeouts to offset that. And so I really think that he's the top option, and really the only option, though I am going to mention one other guy because he's in a pretty safe situation. That is Tristan McKenzie. Now, he doesn't have the upside that deGrom has because he doesn't get the strikeouts, but he still is pretty consistent in getting 25 and above fantasy points on FanDuel. He's pretty safe. He has a safe floor. Obviously, you want the guy that's going to get the most points, and that's probably going to be deGrom. But if you need to save a little bit of money, you can pay down to him at McKenzie's level. But I don't know that you're going to need to pay down because of the way pricing works on FanDuel. But he is somebody you can pay down to if you're desperate to do so. His strikeouts are really the only issue. But he has 37 fantasy points against Tampa Bay already this season, and that was only a couple weeks ago. So I do like him in this matchup. It's just not as ideal as deGrom is based on the situation and stuff like that. But that said, let's go and get into the catchers and first baseman. So I have four guys to look at here. Let me fix this here real quick. Okay. One is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, he has been extremely good lately. He didn't hit very good yesterday, but it doesn't matter. Yesterday is yesterday. He's been really solid lately, getting his fantasy points in every game and stuff like that. And his price has come down a little bit at 4,200, so he's definitely in play here. The next guy is Pete Alonso, who has absolutely been killing the ball lately, getting hits in almost every game. Now, he is kind of due for another home run. It's been several games since he had one. This is the type of situation where he's got to play and play well in order for the Mets to continue their season. I'm definitely not rooting for the Mets because I'm a Braves fan, but hey, if the Mets want to keep their season alive, he's got to do well. Then we're going to look at, Kirk for Toronto. His price has come down a whole bunch. Now, he is a little bit boom or bust, and he hasn't been particularly great lately, but he's in a good situation here against Gossman, not against Gossman, against Robbie Ray, and so I do like him in this matchup. The other option here from the catching perspective is Danny Jansen, if he does play. He's been really good lately, and so I do like him a little bit better than Kirk, but Kirk is a little bit safer because of his price. And then Ty France, finally, for Seattle against Toronto, against Gossman, actually. Now, he has been really good lately and pretty consistent on getting hits in every game, and he does have tendency to hit him run occasionally, so I do think he's in a good spot here in this particular matchup. At second base, excuse me, we really only have two guys that are top tier options here, one of them being Brendan Donovan for the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, he has been pretty good lately. He didn't hit the ball yesterday against Philly, but I do think he's going to have a better opportunity here in this particular game, and so I do like him as a potential hitter today. The second guy is Whit Merrifield, and he's actually my favorite option at second base. He's absolutely been boom or bust, but he's been hitting the ball extremely well lately. Excuse me, getting hits in almost every game for the last few weeks, and so I really like him. He's been playing really well. His batting average is really good lately, and so I think he's a great option in this particular situation. And obviously, he saves you money, too. At third base, obviously, the top option is Jose Ramirez, who did hit a home run yesterday, had a massive game. He's just had massive game after massive game after massive game lately, and so obviously, it's going to be hard to not use him simply because of how good he's been playing. However, he does have the, Glass now is who he's gone up against, And Glasnow is actually a pretty good pitcher. The only question with Glasnow is how deep he's going to go in the game, so it's really hard to know from this perspective. But um, I do like Ramirez here. Matt Chapman looks really solid in this particular matchup. Obviously, he's been boomer bust lately. He had actually a pretty good game yesterday, getting 9 fantasy points, and his price is cheap enough where if he can, pull off the same type of situation, then that will work out for us. Eduardo Escobar for the Mets has been playing really good lately. He's kind of boomer bust in the fact that he gets hits in like bunches, and so he'll have like 2-game hits, 2-game hits, 2-game hits, or 2 hits per game, 2 hits per game, and then he'll have some zeros and stuff. But overall, I think for his price point, he's just been playing pretty well, and I do like him in this situation here. And then Eugenio Suarez for Seattle against Gossman. Now, he has just been pretty consistent lately, having lots of really good games, and so I really like him. He's just hitting the ball well, and if Seattle is going to finish off Toronto, then he is going to have a good game here. And again, his price is still pretty reasonable for his, for what he's been doing lately. At shortstop, we have Bo Bichette, whose price has come down some because he hasn't been hitting quite as well, but that's a little bit deceiving because he's still getting hits in every game. He just hasn't been getting RBIs and a home run lately, and he's kind of due for that. And this is the kind of situation, where they're facing elimination, that he's got to come through. And if this is, if he comes through in this situation, then they'll continue their season. Then Francisco Lindor is the other guy I like here at shortstop. He's actually been a little bit better than Bichette lately. I do like Bichette better though, just because of the matchup. But overall, Lindor is in a pretty good spot, and he's been hitting the ball well. In the outfield, we do have some good options here. So George Springer, Springer is the first guy. Now, if he does play, now he is day to day. It has, you're gonna have to find out when if he actually is gonna play. But if he does play, he's got a great matchup here, and you should be able to find out that lineup hopefully before the Tampa Bay Cleveland game starts. But either way, he's a guy that I do like if he does end up playing. Bryce Harper has not hit the ball well lately, but he's in a plus matchup here, and I do like him in this situation. Toscar Hernandez, he's in a great spot. His price is cheap. I don't know why his price is so cheap, except for the fact that he is kind of boomer bust. But he has home run potential in a game like this, and I do love him in this matchup. I am probably going to be rostering him on both sites. Then Kyle Schwarber for Philly. He's in a good spot here against Philly. He's been extremely good lately. He's had several 40-point games, in fact. Obviously, he's a little bit boomer bust, but he's averaging 17 fantasy points a game almost, and that's hard to ignore. Whit Merrifield, I already mentioned, he can also play outfield. Some a little bit cheaper options. Starling Marte for the Mets. If he does play, he's a top-tier option here. He's been hitting the ball pretty well lately. He's a little bit up and down, hit to hit, game to game, but overall, his price is really kind of too cheap for his production. He's averaging 10 fantasy points a game for the last 10. Mitch Haniger is in a great spot here against Toronto. He's been absolutely crushing the ball lately. He does have tendency to have 0-point games, but but he also has 20-point games. So he's a guy I really like, and his price is pretty fair, surprisingly. Then Mark Canha for the Mets, another guy I like here against Blake Snell. He's extremely boomer bust, but he's cheap, and so if you're desperate to save money, he's somebody you can do it with. And then finally, Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo has absolutely been killing the ball lately. I don't know that he's had that many bad games in a while. He's getting hits in like every game. Even in a game against Miami where he didn't get a hit one game, the only game recently that he didn't get a hit, he still scored 9 fantasy points. His price is actually pretty fair for what his production has been, so I really like him on this particular slate. So that's pretty much what I have for this FanDuel slate. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid slate, actually. The value is very available on FanDuel. And so if you do, have any comments or questions about any players, feel free to leave it below. And have a nice day, guys.